Welcome to Running on Ice, the coolest community in freight. I'm your host, Mary O'Connell, bringing you the latest tech updates, warehouse news, and everything happening in the cold chain world. Not only is there the coolest show in freight, but there's also Running on Ice, a newsletter that could not be colder. You can subscribe to that on freightwaves.com/runningonIce. Today, we welcome Christian Aiken, Executive Vice President at Polar King Mobile. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Mary. Pleasure to be here.
I am excited for today because I followed Polar King for a minute because you guys are doing some pretty cool stuff in the cold chain space. Before we get too far on that, though, let's get some background on you and kind of how you got started at Polar King Mobile.
Okay, so my name is Christian Aiken, and per our earlier conversation offline, Mary, I live in the city of Miami, Florida. My second home is in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is the headquarters of Polar King International, now Polar King Mobile. I came into this business indirectly and maybe later in my professional life because I was importing from Germany for approximately 7 years a refrigeration unit not made or sold in North America called a Govi, G-O-V-I, Arctic 2000 US. And this refrigeration unit is very popular in Western Europe, and it's intended for small refrigerated trailers, which by and large in the United States are unavailable until Polar King Mobile was created in 2020, launched officially in fall of 2020, and we are now selling small pull-behind refrigerated trailers. That's the history.
I like it. I did not even know that was something that we were missing up until a couple of years ago.
Yes. In fact, the reasons we've somewhat understood are historical in nature, but they have to do with the way the European, continent evolved. Small cities, narrow streets, medieval. The shopping habits of the residents are not Costco, shopping for 3 to 4 week supplies. So the way they move things around that must be refrigerated is obviously going to be different.
Jumping further onto that, so I guess, so what kind of brought the need for this different kind of pull behind refrigerated trailer, like this refrigerated solution? Because, like you said, primarily it had its roots in the Europe and the UK, but what was that hallmark that said, this will fill a space here in the US?
So the truth is, I can't, and the Polar King Mobile folks, the owners, the Tipman family, Fort Wayne, Indiana, can't claim too much responsibility. The impetus was Mr. Lamberto Govi. Lamberto Govi is an Italian whose factory is in Germany, and he is the one that maybe 25, 30 years ago created this refrigeration unit. It's a monoblock design. That simply means it's one piece, and it is intended to provide the small trailer OEM, original equipment manufacturer, an appliance that will permit them to refrigerate it to 0 Fahrenheit, that's negative 18 centigrade, or 50 degrees, which is about 10. What brought this about is that in North America, there are 2 major companies that satisfy most refrigerated transport, Thermo King and Carrier. And supporting them are people that make the boxes. Could be Kidron, Morgan, Supreme, Johnson, Mickey, to name a few. And then, of course, you have the truck and van manufacturers. This is different, not widely available. And Polar King has a outdoor walk-in cooler freezer solution that they've successfully been making for decades. That is being put on a trailer with this refrigeration unit, and that's why you have Polar King Mobile. That's the combination of the 3 component parts. And so far, it has exceeded our expectations in terms of market acceptance and performance. And then later, I can just mention a few things that we didn't anticipate that is a good news, bad news story for the industry. Overall, good news for us, but it's kind of an interesting dynamic. What is occurring in refrigeration, HVACR, in North America?
So you guys have this cold storage solution that you can offer businesses. And it's something that, if I am a business, I don't have to go build a 300,000 square foot warehouse or 175,000 square foot warehouse, because shockingly, not everyone has the money just laying around to pop up a brand new state of the art huge warehouse. But you guys have kind of provided a nice kind of temporary solution where to kind of bridge you until you can get some space in a warehouse or whatever. You guys have given that solution to those businesses that haven't necessarily had it. What are kind of some of those trends and some of those use cases that you've seen be wildly successful, outside of just, some produce dealers or other stuff like that?
A little bit of background would probably be useful. Polar King, Fort Wayne, Indiana, has 3 companies. Itself, Polar King International, that makes outdoor walk-in coolers and freezers like a tailored suit. Anybody can knock on their door and get something made to their discrete specifications. Polar Leasing doesn't sell to anybody. It only rents 10 and 20-foot boxes set in place for different applications, restaurants, seasonal demand, emergencies sometimes. And then Polar King Mobile, the newest company, is putting that same box, if you like, on wheels, on a in-house designed trailer using this German refrigeration unit. And this has been picked up by people who have seasonal demand, emergencies. Some of the applications that are beginning to show up that we did not anticipate are, for example, the fact that this new generation of young people are not going to the supermarket. The supermarket is coming to them. Services that are widely available, like DoorDash, which has doing a phenomenal volume of business, needs last mile refrigerated distribution. Other things that have changed that we didn't anticipate, Starbucks would be another example, whose company stores are expanding increasingly into food, not just coffee-centric products. They need more refrigerated space. They are becoming our customers. So the market is, I think, reacting more or less the way we anticipated, but at the same time in areas that we didn't and where the opportunities, lie. But it's a very exciting, I think, time. And I believe Polar King Mobile is going to experience what's called first mover advantage. First to market. We've got an excellent brand name, which already gives us a head start. And just the combination of these 3 things, the trailer, the box, and the refrigeration unit, and the brand have really been very helpful to launching the business.
Oh, I would imagine if I'm sitting there looking for a solution and I see the people who I already know in the industry handle the super cold or the very cold, or if you guys are already like leaders in the industry and, they have a solution that I can take advantage of, 100% I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that all day long, because I know that, look, this company's been around for a while. I know that, they have had a history of fantastic products, so they're not going to stop now. They're going to just have a solution that works for me.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, what Polar King's customers, the historical, decades old installed base of customers have realized is that the company is still very dynamic and was unafraid to make the investment in this new business, a mobile solution that satisfies a lot of applications. We still don't have an exhaustive list of how people are using our refrigerated trailers.
I think that would be to get that exhaustive list. Right now in my head, I'm just picturing like showing up to people who have ordered the trailers and be like, and how are you using this? And like with like a clipboard.
That's right. Exactly. How are you using this? It's been people that have had, for example, catering businesses that are constrained because as their catering volume has increased and maybe they need to attend 500, 1,000, 2,000 person events without mobile on-site refrigeration, it's impossible. That would be one example. Other examples are that in this country, and this is something that I alluded to earlier, in this country, there are an insufficient amount of refrigeration technicians. In fact, the industry is losing them at an alarming rate. This is making convenience stores, supermarkets, anyone who has refrigeration and needs service to feel the consequence of this lack of qualified and trained workforce. These trailers are allowing time. You park a trailer, you plug it in because it's 110 volts, 15 amps, turn it on, and while your walk-in cooler freezer is waiting for either a technician or a component part, you're not out of business.
That I feel like is something that I wouldn't even think of, to have that backup plan, because you have that backup plan if your store, doesn't have power or you lose power, you have that generator, you have a backup form of power. But if your actual refrigerator unit can't handle it, then that's a significant problem, because it's either move everything into a different refrigerator or freezer, like you mentioned, or just eat a total loss, which would hurt a lot to that bottom dollar.
That's right. So I live in Miami, and we are going to be getting into hurricane season here in about 90 days. So during this period, refrigeration becomes something that FEMA, the county, schools, assisted living facilities cannot do without. There's a lot of things that need to be under temperature. Could be medicines or just food and ice, which is always in demand, especially in the summers when hurricanes like to strike this part of the country.
I do like, though, that you said that, because, the consumers are changing and there is that rise of those e-commerce perishable deliveries, not only just with groceries, but we've seen, your butcher boxes where you get frozen or refrigerated meat delivered, and you can get a birthday cake delivered from a bakery that keeps it at a temperature controlled, but you can get an entire cake delivered, which to me is absolutely wild. But I do love it, because it kind of, it makes that experience more fun and it keeps things interesting. But I would definitely, I'm definitely curious to see what this list of uses looks like in maybe even 2 years with the rise of e-commerce.
Oh, yes. So for example, in this country, there are over 150,000 convenience stores. Now, the convenience store in its current manifestation is becoming increasingly a delicatessen, a shop for wines and cheeses, and less of a beer and gasoline or brake and tire service. So, for example, in cities that I've visited in the United States, the convenience store obviously still sells gasoline. But even that's going to be changing with the electrification of our, installed base of transport. So refrigeration for these stores, because they're now catering to an entirely different consumer, is increasingly important. And you combine that with not enough refrigeration technicians or seasonal demand. This product, again, the small pull-behind refrigerated trailer, which gives you an NSF-listed box, which is something we acquired from Polar King, which is National Sanitation Foundation. That by itself just means that they're not going to get in trouble with the Department of Health, the food inspector. It's a clean, sanitary, refrigerated space. This is something that remarkably, again, had not been made available in the United States in these sizes.
Yeah, I can only imagine, because there's there's one gas station chain that we like, and they have ripped out part of their gas station and put in cafes everywhere, but their building footprint hasn't changed. And so I'm like, how are you storing all of this? Where is this going? And then there's another gas station that I love that now we're talking about gas stations. But there's another one down the street that claims to have the world's famous fried chicken, and it's actually really good. And I am very unsettled when I go into a gas station to get fried chicken, but it's really, really good. But they have to keep it all on site, and I know they're not keeping it in the same coolers that they keep the beer, the soda, and the energy drinks in, because that is two wildly different temperatures you can keep things at.
So one thing that I'll mention that is also different, the businesses that I had referred to, Polar King International, which is an outdoor walk cooler freezer maker, and they sell to the public whatever the public desires. Polar Leasing, which is the rental company, and then Polar King Mobile. These three businesses combined are actually providing the public in general, a comprehensive solution. And I think that series of feature benefits it's not matched. We don't see anybody that we are competing against that has pulled these three things together at the same time, and especially not as quickly as we've managed to do. One other point, Polar King Mobile is a go-to-market through dealerships in North America. So unlike Polar King International, unlike Polar Leasing, we have a network of third-party resellers. And the reason being, in part, is because a trailer is a licensed, plated, or tagged vehicle. It's going down state highways. So it needs to be sold and supported by folks who in their respective states are licensed to sell an automotive, type of product.
That is something I didn't even think about because, yeah, you said it's a trailered pull behind unit and it has to sit on that very specific trailer. It's not like I can just go to U-Haul and pick up a trailer. It has to sit on a specific trailer, and that I also did not know that there were special licenses to buy things.
Yeah, they're treated like vehicles. So you can't just pull a trailer, any size trailer, unless it's licensed. If you're going on public roads and interstate highways.
You learn something new every day. And this cold chain world, it's always full of surprises.
Sure.
All right. So what are some of Polar King Mobile's expectations for the rest of 24? Like, are you guys expecting to see a huge growth? Are you expecting certain markets to take off? And then also, what does it look like in 5 to 10 years from now?
So I would probably hazard a guess that the category that we are addressing is going to be measured by the end of this decade in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Depending on who you ask, that sounds like a boast. Other people are more pragmatic. That sounds realistic. If you compare the size of the small pull-behind refrigerated trailer market in Western Europe, which as a whole is about the size of the United States, the number of trailers potentially that could be sold every year is exceeding 25,000 to 30,000. Right now, we are less than 1,000 units a year, which just gives an indication of how far we have to go before this becomes a mainstream product. The things that are going to be driving the growth, for the most part, will be, we feel, awareness. So this interview, this public relations efforts that we're undertaking through Polar King's marketing department are going to be helping make the public aware that there is a solution, wasn't available, in the prior century to the present, and it's exciting. It's not expensive. It's very cost effective as compared to alternatives, and it solves applications for a very diverse client base.
I think pretty much when you said there's 25,000 annually that are bought or sold throughout Europe, and that is a smaller footprint than the continental United States.
Well, as an example, okay, and this is something that people who know me have heard me say before, where the majority of these units and trailers are sold in Western Europe is Germany. Germany has the strongest economy of Western Europe, but it's not a big place. Germany's GDP is a seventh the size of the United States. It has maybe 80 million people. The U.S. has 330 million. Its geographic footprint does not exceed 130,000 square miles. The United States is a much larger country with a diverse geography, with climates that will always be hot, Florida, the southern United States. So the potential here is just enormous, and our economies are very diverse. We have entertainment, manufacturing, research. I mentioned research because we're selling trailers to hospitals and schools and, federal agencies like the Forest Service. And they're using these trailers for applications that obviously they were not in our marketing plan, which are like seedling programs in the state of Virginia. And those types of customers that have just shown up when they saw the product was available, they jumped at the opportunity to acquire it.
That's one of those, I feel like that has to be one of those happy accidents of people are like, oh, can I have this? Like, this is great. I want to buy this. And you're like, I mean, yeah, but we didn't quite think about this one. But okay, I guess we can add this to the marketing material now.
That's right. So in the States, globally, there is a billion tree initiative. So the country is trying to cool cities, and you really can't air condition a city, St. Louis, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Miami, Florida. So one of the ways that you can ameliorate or mitigate global warming is by having a larger canopy of trees. So tree planting is going to be more focused on urban areas. But to get trees to survive, to be viable, they have to be under temperature for a cycle in their life. And that's where our product is helping out the Forest Service in the country.
First of all, I did not know that trees have to be kept at a certain temperature. I just assumed like it's a tree, it's fine.
Yes, at the Seedling program. That's right. It's a very critical window that they have to be kept at a certain temperature.
That is so cool. Because because realistically, if I know I'm planting a bunch of trees around this part of one city, I can park a trailer there, have the seedlings grow, and then I'm already in that area. So when it comes time to planting, I I don't have to move everything around the city. I just am already there and just boop, 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 boop. I like it. All right. Well, Christian, we are running out of time today, but there's a question that everyone comes on the show, they have to answer. And you are no exception today. Are you ready?
I think so, Mary.
Is cereal considered a soup?
Well, let's see now. I love soup. And, soup is a broth. It has liquid and it has things inside the soup, or it's just a liquid soup. So I think cereal is a soup.
That's a bold choice. That is a bold choice. I am seeing cereal is not a soup, but I see where you're coming from. I'm also not a soup girl. I just got on the soup train this past year, and we're working our way through some soups. But right now, it's more. I like the soup that has more things in it and less broth, because it's just the act of like drinking a liquid from a spoon is very weird to me.
Yeah. No, I think, I eat my cereal with a big tablespoon,
That's true. I also don't put milk in my cereal because I'm a monster. So.
Oh, no. It's gotta be milk or water or flax milk or soy milk.
Oh, water?
Sometimes, when you have those like mueslis, milk gets too heavy.
That's fair. I was thinking like water and Lucky Charms together, and I was like,
no. Cheerios, no, of course not. Raisin Bran.
I mean, who also is eating Raisin Bran still? All right. Well, Christian, if anyone wants to reach out to you on your soup opinions or on any Polar King Mobile fun facts, where can they find you outside of the show?
Okay, so we have a really good website, polarkingmobile.com. That would be the first place to start. You'll find product information, videos, technical information, and the listing of our dealers. That would be the first place to start. Through that website, I can be reached.
I absolutely love that. You guys heard it here first. Christian's DMs are open. Get on that website, and he's got a solution for you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, Mary. Thank you.
You can catch other episodes of Running on Ice right here on FreightWaves TV or YouTube or anywhere else you get your podcasts like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Need more Running on Ice news? No sweat. Subscribe to the newsletter on freightwaves.com/runningonIce. See you on the internet.